What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, and today we're testing the Hoka One Carbon X2 on the long run. There we go, 18 miles done and dusted in the Hoka One Carbon X2, and what a long run test that was. It's been a while since I've been able to do a really good long run test, but now, because obviously we're deep into marathon training, we're able to take our shoes out, especially over the next couple of months. Anything that comes in over the next couple of months is going to get a good long run test. And yesterday was no exception. So we put this thing through the ringer. You saw how bad the weather was. We were running deep through puddles. We ended up doing, well, actually, let me just give you a very quick brief. For those of you who are new here, I live in an area called the Forest of Dean, hence why I'm Andy, the Forest of Dean runner. And we have beautiful fire track trails around here, plus roads and single tracks. We have absolutely everything on our doorstep. I feel very, very lucky. But what that does mean is these trails are very runnable. I do end up taking all of my road shoes out on these trails because they're runnable. They don't really get muddy. They don't cause any issues. So I take out all my shoes, my Next Percents, my Endorphin Pros, everything has been out on those trails. So this was no exception. It ended up being about 13, 14 miles out on that flat buffed out trail, or I should say river, yesterday. And then we got back down onto our local industrial estate and did another 6 miles. I think it was 5, 6 miles on the concrete, and really just put it through its paces. So we got a really good test, and obviously we held moderate pace. So we weren't going easy. We were going at a steady lick, and it just, wow, I'm not going to say how it did. We'll dive into that now. So that's just a quick brief. Today we're going to talk about how it performs, how I think it performed compared to the Rocket X, because that's something I alluded to in the first impressions video, and really how it did on an overall score of a shoe, because the first impressions just wasn't good enough in this thing. Although it was a fantastic baptism of fire from a speed workout, we need to see how this thing goes over the distance. So we'll start with just that, fit and comfort, and how it handled the distance itself. I've got to be honest with you, I was very, very happy. I think after my first impressions, I kind of basically said, I'm not sure what's better at the moment, the Rocket X or the Carbon X. I need to do some more running in this shoe, but I was kind of leaning towards the Rocket X just because it's like nearly 2 ounces, well, it's about 1.5 ounces lighter. This thing comes in at a hefty 11.3 ounces in my size, 320 grams. So it's a heavy old shoe, and for a racing shoe, I was a little bit taken aback at just how heavy it was, considering the version 1 was a lot lighter than this. And the Rocket X for me was an absolutely brilliant shoe, is a brilliant shoe, and obviously still in my rotation at the moment. So I kind of wondered where this would stack up, and I'm trying to answer the question at the end of the video, do you need both of these shoes in the rotation? So I was a little bit concerned, I guess, leading into the long run, how it would feel. And the one thing that stood out to me massively was, obviously I ran on the cycle track with Gavin, who was out there with me on that day, and then Lee, my friend, who you see in a lot of videos, also went out on the cycle track. It was flooded. There were rivers going across the cycle track. I'll be honest with you, actually the cycle track is being destroyed right now with the weather. There's going to have to be a lot of regeneration work done on that in the spring and summertime to get that back to what it is. There's just carvings out where the water is running off the hills and down through the track. And the one thing that stood out to me is how well this thing shifted the water out of the shoe. It did get very heavy at one point as I was going through them, but then literally within a few minutes, it kind of felt back to normal again, which is great, because I thought to myself when I went through the first pedal, oh my goodness, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. They're already heavy, they're going to get heavier, this is not what I need. But they didn't, which was great. So it kind of, the water dissipated through the shoe nicely, if that's the right word to use. So that felt great. In terms of comfort, it felt really good. I did once again allude to in the first impressions, it is narrower than the Rocket X. It certainly does feel very much like the Rincon in terms of the sort of shape and structure and the width. A lot of you guys found the Rincon 2, I should say, slightly too narrow. This Rincon 2, it is tight. It's tighter for me. I have a wider foot. It was a bit tight. I got away with it, and I'm getting away with this too. I didn't experience any rubbing, anything like that, but it does fit very, very snug, I should say, overall. But I have to be honest with you, I was out on my feet for 2 hours. and my legs felt great when I got back. And that's a key sign when you're investing in shoes of this quality, you're paying a premium price, you want a premium service back from the shoe. And it did just that, which was fantastic. I've got to be honest with you, my legs felt great at the end of it. It's not a shoe that I would want to reach to on every long run because I don't believe in running in carbon plate shoes a lot. I like to run in non-plated shoes and then save the plated stuff once a week or race day ideally. But on the whole, I have to be honest with you, if you like running in carbon plated shoes, as with most Hokas, they just have that beautiful gliding sensation, which this one does, again, absolutely beautifully. And yeah, it just did really well. Someone asked me in the first impressions video as well, did you notice the kick out in the heel here, this little dovetail section at the back here? No, I didn't notice it at all. In fact, if I'm honest with you, I wouldn't have it. It adds weight, there's extra foam and rubber that's not needed. I just get rid of it. Straight down the back like the Rocket X would have been ideal. So overall, in terms of how it felt, how it handled the weather in particular, and the comfort levels, it was fantastic. So just before we answer the question of Rocket X versus Carbon X2 and do you need both in the rotation, I kind of want to answer a question that popped into my head at the end of the long run yesterday. It may or may not shock some of you, I don't know. Some of you might say I'm being a bit harsh, but I like to be honest on this channel and I want to give you my honest opinion of this shoe. As you've just heard, I find it fantastic, but there is one thing that I just feel like I need to say about this shoe. I have the Next Percent, the Endorphin Pro, the New Balance Fuel Cell TC, which I know isn't the racer, but it's another carbon plated shoe. We have the Rocket X and I had the original Carbon X. And now I have the Carbon X2. The first question is it a good upgrade? And the second question is, would I consider racing in this shoe? Well, let me answer the second question first. It's the first carbon plated shoe that I've bought that I don't think I would consider racing in. And the reason for that simply is the evolution of carbon plated shoes has meant that they have got lighter, springier, spongier. They just feel different. This feels like a heavier version 1. Now I raced in the version 1 and I love the version 1 and I think this has some solid updates from version 1. The midsole foam is much better. The first one was firm, this is a bit softer. It will appeal to a lot more people and it has that incredible Hoka gliding sensation. It is smooth as butter and that's what I love about it, but it's heavier. And when I go, and I don't just mean a little bit heavier, it's a lot heavier. And so that instantly, for me, when I look at my carbon plated racer lineup, think to myself, would I even place this in the competition of those 5 other shoes to race with? And I don't think I would. I think I would say for me, this is a long run shoe at best. So there, I guess, lies the question. Is it a cheaper racing shoe? Which, having said that, is £20 more expensive than the Rocket X, £160. Or is it a cheaper racing shoe or a premium long run trainer? And I've got to be honest with you, I think it's a premium long run trainer. I feel a bit uncomfortable saying that because I know a lot of people spend their money on these shoes, not through me, but just in general. And this is just my opinion. But from running in the other shoes that I have in my rotation, I have to be honest with you and say it's not something I would consider for a race. It's just a little bit too heavy and a little bit too clunky, and although I don't notice this at the back here, it does feel like there's a lot of shoe and with that a lot of weight. So that shifts us then finally onto the question, Rocket X, Carbon X2, and do you need both of them in your rotation? I think now after the second run, obviously we're putting more runs in this and I'll be hopefully getting it up towards the 100-mile mark, but I'm going to say the Rocket X. I think the Rocket X is, well, it's lighter. It's still got that same gliding sensation. It feels less of a shoe. You don't feel like you have quite such a big shoe on your foot. I think namely because I said to you in the beginning, you don't notice this. Okay, you don't notice this at the back. It's just, it's there, but you don't notice it. But this, for some reason, feels like a lot of shoe. And with that, it's obviously a little bit weightier. The Rocket X comes in at my size, as I said, 9.8 ounces. It comes in 200, I can't remember, late 200 grams. And so naturally, I'm going to reach for the Rocket X with the same gliding sensation, the same comfort, a little bit wider in the toe box, £20 cheaper. And yeah, those 4 things all kind of go in the favour of the Rocket X. So for me, that answers the question that I would probably choose the Rocket X. So do you need both of them in your rotation? No, you don't, if I'm honest with you. I mean, it's a bit frustrating because I had such a great time in my Carbon X1, but being honest, and I always like to try and be honest with you, I just kind of feel like they're going in the wrong direction with the Carbon X2. I feel like the Rocket X would have been a fantastic upgrade to the Carbon X, like same midsole foam, less outsole rubber, so a lot lighter, And yeah, I'm comfortable to race in the Rocket X. It feels like a good gliding shoe, be a great marathon racing shoe. Just like this, you can race in it, you could do everything in it, but I would choose the Rocket X. And with this, with the weight, it just feels like there's a little bit too much shoe. Does that make sense? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below about this shoe. It's a little bit of a confusing one for me. I love it, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's got a purpose. But for £160, just for a long run shoe, it's not something I would recommend as such. Oh, I hate doing that, but I've done it, I've said it, there we go, no edits, no cuts. That's my thoughts on the Hoka One 808 Carbon X2. As I said, I'll continue using it, I like it as a shoe, it's great. It's just expensive, unnecessary weight, and sadly, a little bit too narrow for a lot of people's liking. But there we go, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know how you find the Carbon X2. Does it fit you better? Have you got narrower feet? Is it a bit more snug for you? And does it give you that sensation that I find with Hokas, where it's just that beautiful glide? And of course, if you've got the Rocket X or the Carbon X2, what do you prefer? Let me know if I've caused a bit of a stir, or if you agree with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's it for today's video, guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, share it with friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.